Today's episode is brought to you from Amsterdam, where I have to do this in one take because I have no editing facilities and possibly nowhere to upload it for quite a while. So I'm already late. I'm sorry about that. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about failure. I recently had a bit of a failure myself. My car didn't pass the NCT, the National Car Test in Ireland, so I got a kind of invoice thing, a big letter back, and it says right down the bottom in bold letters, fail. But thankfully it doesn't just tell you that you failed, it also tells you a list of the things that you need to do to fix that failure. And I think that has some parallels to what Eric Ries would call innovation accounting, and how the important thing about doing anything, whether it's a startup or keeping your car on the road, is about having measurable ways and good ways of measuring what is failure and what isn't failure. I also had another failure on top of that, and that was in business. I let myself be persuaded by a person who basically steered me away from what my original plan was. Let me just turn over here and we can have a look at what's over this side. I was running the business. The plan was to be lean at all times, and unfortunately I got convinced to change my plan and try building new features that hadn't been tested and hadn't been verified, and instead of getting it in front of the customer as soon as possible, we decided to build features that weren't required and weren't proven. And of course we ended up being in front of a customer that wasn't happy, and while we learnt what that customer felt about the service eventually, we definitely failed, and they came back to us saying that they weren't happy with the service we provided, which was essentially my fault. I mean, it's my product and it was my decision not to go with the features and a minimal set of features that we could have tested and used. I'm going to turn back around here because I think it's nicer viewed this way. And in that respect I failed, and more so I failed because I didn't have a way of knowing what failure was, other than the customer telling me that they weren't happy with the product. I hadn't decided exactly what constituted failure and how I could move on from that. What I did right, however, was, rather than jumping in and working with this person, I decided to take a period of time before I decided whether or not this person was worth working with. And clearly they weren't worth working with, and that test was this period of time. I think in future and from now on it will be much more important to be strict on my goals and strict on my innovation accounting from here on in. But even more so, the important thing is how we bounce back from this. So there's been a failure, fine. Let's outline, just like in the NCT test, let's outline what's wrong with this car. What do I need to get fixed in the mechanics to get the innovation engine running again? And that's about all I have to say. Yeah, I'm here in Amsterdam. The place is great. It's an amazing city. Yeah, thanks.